the Chiappa 1911-22 chambered in 22 long rifle. This is a sweet little firearm. Alright, once again I'm out here doing a video when it's about to get dark. So we're gonna go slightly quickly. I'm gonna take a little more time though on the shooting. This is my cheap target just to check, make sure rounds are going where I want them to. Anyway, so that's just a little purple marker on a cardboard box. Plain, simple, no frills. It'll do the job. Once again, I'm showing you the target first, so that way nobody questions the accuracy. Alright, we're going to get a little shooting done, and then I'm going to review this pistol in just a little bit here. Alright, out of the house again. This is about 15 yards. Alright, this is standard. Essentially, it functions just like a 1911. Working with the camera here so you can see. You got your thumb safety here. The grip safety is actually a false safety molded into the frame. It actually does nothing. Other than that, let me flip this screen so I can actually see what I'm doing. So, other than that, plain and simple, functions exactly the same. So we got a 10-round magazine here. I actually purchased about 3 of them. They're 12 bucks a piece. The one that came with the firearm, because I traded to get this one. So this isn't new, this is used. I had a Heritage Rough Rider, and great 22 6-shooter, but the sights were off. No matter. From this distance, that firearm was shooting probably a good 8 inches high. And any of you who know about fixed sights on an old cowboy action style weapon, you can't exactly do anything to adjust it when it's shooting high. Alright, you just need a taller sight blade. And well, I didn't want to go through the trouble of even bothering with that, so I decided to trade it, and I wanted a semi-automatic. And a guy on the site that I was on offered this up, so did a little research, and there's mixed reviews on this, but even the manufacturer, Chiappa, they put out a answer to a problem that people were having with it. People were saying, it's not reliable, it wouldn't shoot correctly, it wouldn't feed all the time, it would lock back, stovepipe, whatever the case. Well, the manufacturer, and I believe Such Double Aught's got a review on here, and they point out that if you do not hold this like an actual 1911, if you don't have a firm grip on it, well, because of the way the spring is set up in here, the way the firearm's designed, if you're limp wristing, just letting it go wherever after you pull the trigger, it will not allow the slide to go all the way back and chamber the next round. Or it won't go all the way back and completely eject the casing before it slides forward, and then hence you get a stovepipe, or it takes up some of the force and double feeds, whatever the case. That's typically the problem with these from all the research I've done. Now, I researched before I got this firearm, so I've had no troubles with it whatsoever. Granted, it's already broken in. Got a little bit of a wear mark here, a couple of wear marks, nothing, no big deal. The thing functions perfectly. 22 ammo, as you know, not the most reliable thing in the world. So, really, any malfunctions that happen, typically, I'm shooting cheap stuff. We're talking Winchester 5.55. All right, old red box. It's categorized as high velocity, so it cycles through just fine for me. I've had one or two malfunctions, like a stovepipe or something like that, or a round just didn't go off. But I look, and the casing, the primer, check that out, and the primer was struck, and I've actually given that round another chance, and it still didn't fire. It's just bum primer, that happens in bulk ammo. So anyways, let's get a little shooting done before we're completely out of light here, and just see what kind of groups we get. I'm about 15 yards here. Alright. Let me try and angle this camera just a little bit better so you can actually see the firearm and not just me. Actually, let me get the other side here. Let's see what we got. Hey, that might actually be a little better. Alright, Chiappa 1911-22. Lock and load. I'm going to take on that left target first. Alright, and as you see, we do have last shot hold open, which is nice. Standard. Slide release here. Let me grab the next mag. So next mag loads up just like normal. Hit the slide release and you're good. Some people say don't use the slide release. Yeah, they have wear right here on the slide from using the slide release. This is a used firearm. I'm sure somebody's done that before, done it plenty of times whenever they've shot this thing. So I don't see any problem with it, any issue whatsoever. Anyways, let's go down. I'm going to set the firearm down. Alright. There's a round in the chamber, but we have it on safe. I'm also going to set the firearm down as we walk up here. It's not going to fire on its own, folks. Alright, let's check this out. See what kind of grouping we did. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. Looks like about 10 holes here to me. Alright, we got 2 that keyholed right here. Well, 2 right here and 1 right there. You can't really tell too much. This lighting, but that's a split right here. So yeah, not bad. Not the greatest in the world, but man, what can you expect? 22 LR, and still that's pretty good. So I think part of the problem maybe my grip, so we're going to try this one more time. I'm going to go for that center target. Maybe take my time just a little bit more. Let's see what we can do here. Alright. Still have it around in the chamber. Safety's off. Make sure we're in frame. Yeah, not quite in frame. Alright, here we go. Let's try moving over a little. More so right here. Yeah, it's a little better. Alright. Shooting for that center target. I jerked the mess out of that. Alright, once again, last shot hold open. Works just fine. I don't remember if I mentioned, but the only thing that was wrong with this pistol when I bought it is the original magazine had a crack in it right about here. So when you load it up to capacity, it was too much pressure with the spring, and as soon as you slapped it up in there, all of a sudden the top couple of rounds would just eject right off the top. So once again though, 12 bucks a piece. These are not, I mean, they're polymer magazines, plastic. I'm not sure exactly what they're made of, but they seem to function just fine. They even have this little thumb tab here so you can assist in the loading. Just grab it with your thumbnail there and drag it down. Makes loading just a little bit easier. Now let's go down. We're going to see once again kind of accuracy we got. Alright, well, not too bad. That little side-to-side action, that's more my grip kind of changing a little bit, not being 100% consistent, but overall not bad. So we got a can up here, an old hairspray can. We're just going to stand back, knock it off the top of this thing right quick. Might do it in the first shot. Might do it in a couple of shots. Let's see what's going on. And that'll be all the shooting I got time for, because it's actually those purple, those little purple marks on the box that I'm using as targets are actually very hard to see in this lighting. We are losing light fast. Alright, so black can on a dark silhouette. Let's see if I can hit it. Lock and load. Yeah, I'd say that does the trick. Chiappa, 1911-22. Alright, let's take this inside for a better review of it. And I'll tear it down as well. That way you can see what you're getting into if you're considering one of these. Alright YouTube, welcome back. This is Naked Alien again with another firearm review. So what we have in front of us today, this is a Chiappa, not a Chiappa. This is a Chiappa 1911-22 as written right there on the slide. We do have a little bit of the whole billboard marking thing going on here from Chiappa Firearms Limited in Dayton, Ohio. As you can see right here, hopefully the camera's focused in well enough so you can even read it. Anyways, nice little firearm, nice pistol. I did get this used. I did not pay anything for it. I got it in a trade. And we'll go ahead and skip ahead, talk about the value real quick. You can find these things, just the base model, like what this one is, the GI model, as it were. And granted, GI models are the 45 ACP typically, but this is a clone, a 22. The whole purpose of this thing is 22 ammo is way cheaper to shoot than 45 ACP or 9mm or 38 Super, or whatever you want to put in a 1911. Rock Island's got a lot of 40 cals, Para's got 40 cals. Yeah, it's all a lot more expensive than firing this right here. Now, the whole purpose of this thing is so that, well, you can train like you're shooting your 1911. Now, this has got a soft recoil spring, or a soft action spring, so when it comes back, there's not much resistance by the spring. So that the weight of that slide, the way this is designed, is so when it comes back, it actually tends to throw you off your target just a little bit for your sight picture. So it emulates, without the recoil, it emulates the action of the 45 caliber. So that way it's a little more effective when you train with this. At least that's the purpose. Now, Shout out to Such Double Hot. Such did a great review on this gun. That's actually the defining factor of me deciding to go with this pistol. Where I live, it's legal to do trades completely without an FFL or any paperwork involved. You can literally just take one firearm and say, hey, I like the firearm you've got, and you go up, the guy likes your firearm, and the two of you swap. Well, it's perfectly legal. All right, so that's pretty much what happened. Is I put an ad up. I had a Heritage Rough Rider, and I think I mentioned this when in the actual shooting portion of the video. Heritage Rough Rider, great pistol. A lot of people knock them because they're so cheap. Hey, I like cheap guns. All right, cheap guns are cheaper to shoot typically. Yeah, you pay for what you get, so that's why I do a little bit of research before I get anything. As I pointed out, there are mixed reviews on this firearm, but it seems to me like everybody who's got a bad review out on it, at least that I came across, I could be wrong, or the people who really have serious issues don't really speak up about it, and heck, you might be one of those people and you're watching this video now, but I don't have a single issue with this thing. Alright, now typical issues, and Chiappa actually came out with a video saying if you're limp wristing it and your wrist or your elbows taking up a lot of the recoil from it, I mean, come on guys, this is a 22. That shouldn't be happening if you're firing this properly in the first place. So, but if that is happening, the way this is designed is that soft spring, it is a soft spring, but if the recoil is not being taken by the slide, then, well, it's going to stop short, and it's either going to collapse back down quicker because it didn't go all the way back and you're going to get a stovepipe, or it's going to eject the round and it's not going to go quite far enough to pick up the next one, so you're going to drop the hammer on an empty chamber, or it's going to go right in between and you're going to have the brass casing stuck with a round trying to feed in the chamber. Alright, none of which really work out too well. But now keep in mind, we are talking about 22 ammo here. I don't have to go into the reliability issues with 22 ammo. Alright, at least I shouldn't have to go into it. This is the cheap stuff. I don't, for me, if I'm going to shoot a 22, one for fun, I'm not going to go out and buy, CCI mini mags all day long at $12 per 100 rounds. No, that defeats the purpose. How about $20 for 555 rounds? And yeah, I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, I can't find 22 LR anymore. Well, periodically check back at your local sporting goods stores. Here where I live, we've got a local Academy Sports. Just the other day, I went in there just to see. 22 is coming back on the shelves, but they actually happen to have a 525 round box of Winchester white box. It's essentially well, it's not essentially. It is the same thing here that I'm shooting. Yes, you come across in bulk ammo. One or two rounds that, bad primer, whatever the case may be, the round doesn't want to go off. Okay, whatever. It's bulk ammo. This is what, a couple of cents on the dollar. You'll be okay. Alright. But in the case that does happen, just clear it out, go to the next round. No big deal. What I do typically do though is if the round does not go off, as I pull the round out, I check it and check the primer. Did it have a good strike? If it had a good strike, I know it was not the firearm, it was the round. Easy way to figure that out for those of you who are new to firearms in the first place. Alright, anyways, kind of back on point here. 22 LR, cheap to shoot. It's a training tool. Yes, I think personally, because of the reliability that this thing has been showing to me, I think it'd be a good SHTF weapon, to be honest with you. Same argument that a lot of people put with 22 long rifle. Alright, yes, it's not the best caliber for defense, or hunting, or it's better than nothing. And what's even better than that is the fact that 555 of these can fit in the space of about 20, or excuse me, about 100 7.62 rounds, or let's say 100 rounds of 45 ACP, a box load of them. I had 2 boxes. It's about the same size as that box right there. Depending on the 100 round box or 250 round boxes equals about the space of that box of 555 rounds. That is a big difference in the amount of ammo that you're taking with you. Alright, so knock it if you want to. You know, it's a personal preference thing. Personally, I've got my 9mm. I got a Smith & Wesson M&P 9 that is a great firearm. That's actually probably what I would go to because, well, capacity, price of rounds, how many can I carry, blah blah blah. So that's probably my first choice. But when it comes down to it, having something like this around the home, because I'm not one of the ones that, I'm gonna bug out to BFE. I'm probably gonna already have all my stuff here. So what do I need to do? I need to defend it, or I need to, I'm running low on meat. I want a bunch of this ammo so that, hey, if I gotta go small game hunt or take down a white-tailed deer, I know an older gentleman that used to go around hunting white-tailed deer with 22, and he swore up and down you take a good semi-automatic 22 and just 3 shots, bam bam bam, you're gonna drop your deer. Make sure the placement's good. Now granted, I don't know what the stipulations and restrictions were back in that day. That is definitely not illegal right now, but what we're talking about is a WROL or SHTF situation that would occur. So I'm not condoning breaking any laws, especially dealing with game wardens and stuff. You don't want that mess. Alright, this is extreme circumstances if that's the case. But once again, I'm digressing. Let's look at the firearm a little bit more. Alright, so this is a standard setup, GI 1911. You have a fixed front blade up here. Whoa, what just happened with the camera here? That just jumped down on me here. Alright, I probably won't even edit that out. We're just going to keep going. So, standard setup, you have your magazine release right here, a smooth front strap. You have a little, I don't even call it checkering, it's flat mainspring housing essentially. There's a little bit curved to it. Excuse me. The grips are pretty good. They're wood grips, a little bit coarse. Once again, not really checkering in it. It's just textured essentially. And it feels great in the hand, but it's rough enough to where I seriously don't think I'd have a problem gripping this when my hands are wet or cold or anything of that nature. And you have your thumb safety. The grip safety is false. It's not. It's just there for looks. Once again, it's clone. The internals of this are way different. All right, we're not going to get too much into specific details of comparison. I'm just going to flat out show you what this thing has inside. The advantage to this is we do have an adjustable rear sight. Now, there's a little set screw right here. I'm not sure how well you can see it, but you just need a little precision screwdriver. Loosen that up, adjust your windage left or right, whichever way you need to. I recommend Loctiting it. I haven't done it yet. Yes, practice what you preach. I'm not doing that right now, but anyways, set your sights where you need it to go, tighten that down, and you're good. That's it. Once again, talking about that Heritage Rough Rider that I used to have and that I traded for this. Great firearm, but the reason I decided to trade it is because it was shooting very high, as in anywhere from 7 to 15 yards. We were looking at 6 to 8 inches above my point of aim. You need a higher front sight to be able to compensate for that, or to fix your point of aim. Because think about it, if you raise your sight, you have to lower the end of the barrel to line it up with your rear sight. So a higher rear sight, but it was fixed just as this one is. Okay, so there's no change in it. All right, it's molded into the barrel. Well, that was the deciding point. You know, it was extremely reliable. I had a little bit of a separation anxiety going on when I was getting rid of it, but yeah, the guy that I gave it to wanted it for cowboy action shooting, not any kind of precision work. But you know, just he wanted something cheap to shoot and put in his cowboy rig. So you know, both parties were extremely happy with what we were getting, and that was that. Now, a little extra added safety they put here. There's a key that typically comes with this. I did not get it because, well, as I said, I got this used and it was in a trade, and I didn't really ever plan on turning that to engage this safety. But what this does is it rotates a little bar, and I'm not even sure if you can see it inside here. Around the firing pin there's a little block. I'm trying to line this up so you can see. Okay, so it's a little block that goes over and around the firing pin, and you can see how underneath the firing pin that little block is open. Now when you turn this little key and you would turn it clockwise, that little block would turn, and the bottom portion of that would actually angle out and form a hammer block. So when you'd pull the trigger, hang on here, there we go, sorry, had to slide back just a little bit. So when you'd pull the trigger and it would fall down, it would stop short and never contact the firing pin. So it's a good way to lock it up if you have young ones, children, storage. You don't want anybody shooting the thing without your knowledge. You know, store the key separate. Well, I don't typically. That's just like, you know, Taurus and a couple others have the little key lock safety that disengages the hammer, locks down the whole firearm. For me, yeah, I'm not really big on that. I see the point, but you know, it's just not my thing. So I have no intentions on using that. Alright, so let's break this thing down. Alright, as you notice, we do have the bushing here, the barrel bushing, just like on a standard 1911. What we're going to do is we're going to turn that, we're going to let your spring, we're going to drop the guide rod out. Guide rod's obviously quite a bit different, alright? And we've already cleared the weapon. I've done that plenty of times, alright? Now, what I want to do is I'm going to bring this bushing around to a 90-degree position. I'll reach in there, and this one can be a little stubborn. And sometimes what I do is I just hook this up under. Doesn't hurt the metal or anything, but pull that right out. Notice this has got a little lip here, a little lip here. I'll show you what that's for in just a second. Alright, now what we're going to do, this is very simple. What you can do now different from tearing down the 1911, you can now go ahead and take this out here, your slide stop. Alright, we're going to pull the barrel, or excuse me, the slide all the way back, and we're going to lift up on the back, and we're just going to slide this forward. And there's your slide. Oh, hey, how about that? What do we notice that's different? Bam! The barrel is integrated into the frame. All in one piece here. Now, I don't tear this down any further than this. Alright, because I'm no gunsmith. Yes, I'm a gun advocate. I'm a gun enthusiast, but not to the point where I know how to really tear these things down perfectly all the way. So I just do the manufacturer's recommendation. Alright, to be quite frankly, I don't quite have the money if I mess something up in here to go and replace all the parts and stuff. So I just don't mess with it. I go as far as the manufacturer recommends going, and that's it. I trust the guys who design these things to know what they're doing, because that's what I'm paying for. Granted, I didn't pay for this one, I traded. But anyways, you'll notice that I've oiled this thing up really well. That's another recommendation that I found in a lot of reviews, is to make sure this thing stays pretty clean, oiled up real nicely. It's just one of those things. You want this thing slick. You want it slick. It's you're firing bulk 22 ammo, 22 in general, out of it, and you really just want to take out any room for error that it could have. So just slick this thing up, oil it down nicely, and right off the bat, if you're like me, I sweat a lot. If you got this in a holster, you're sweating all over it, you want a little extra barrier to protect from rust. Alright, so anyways, that's it. Very simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts to include the slide. Alright, now looking in here at the slide, let's see if I angle this. Alright, these the little lips on this piece here, on the bushing, are actually going to slide up in here, and if you notice, there's that little ridge right up inside of there. When those little lips go up in there and pass that ridge, that's when it turns down, and now it's locked into place. It cannot pass that groove inside the slide right here where my finger is. You can't do it unless, I guess, you're firing some 9mm in it, which is not even possible, and the force of it's going to blast it out and crack everything and blow it up. Yeah, put a little tannerite inside there and then shoot it with something else. Yeah, not exactly a recommendation. So anyways, we're going to put this thing together the exact opposite way that we pulled it apart. So we're going to pull that on. Now, one thing you're going to notice here, make sure that's in frame, is sitting up a little bit. Well, it's because that hammer right there. You don't have to pull the hammer down, but just make sure you press down on the slide. Alright, make sure that the groove for your slide lock passes over this little switch right here. Alright, that's got something to do with safety. You can look up on other reviews about that. But anyways, make sure it passes that. Just save yourself a little trouble on negotiating the gap on here. So anyways, slide it forward. Bam, you got that. Now, let's take a look at the slide release. You're going to notice a little detent right here. Alright, what that's for is this little prong on the, excuse me. Wow, the name of this thing. The name just flew out of my head. Anyways, that's going to sit right there. Alright, and that's what's essentially keeping tension on this so it just doesn't slide right out. So we're going to go ahead and take this. You don't have to worry about that little notch like on a typical 1911. You just go ahead, slide it right in, right there. And notice, it didn't take any pressure, it doesn't click into place, nothing like that. You just put it on and go. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and put my safety on, because that's going to hold the slide pretty much in place. Or the other thing we can do is go ahead drop the hammer on it to hold it really still and put the safety on. So that slide's locked in. I'm going to take the guide rod. There we go. Oh my God, I can't believe that slipped my mind. Okay, drop the guide rod in. Spring. Make sure it goes down and over the guide rod. And this bad boy right over the spring. Now you can set it right there, leave it just like that while you take your barrel bushing. Now keep in mind you have those little things to contend with, so you want to put this in 90 degrees. Slide it straight in. Mine clicks a little bit, some of them don't. Now you've got these little almost prongs right here. You want to, there's only 3 of them, there's not 4, so you don't have them like a crosshair almost, but you want to make sure it's at 3, 6, and 9 o'clock. You want to push that in, and then you're going to turn the barrel bushing, and there you go, all done. So drop safety, we're ready to go. Alright, so everything's good. I don't recommend dry firing this because just like any other rimfire a cartridge, the firing pin's going to smack into what would be the rim of the casing, but now that the rim of the casing is not in there, you're going to be hitting metal on metal. You know, I seriously don't think it would hurt too much for it to happen every now and then, but over time that's going to damage your firearm, possibly mess up the firing pin. It's just not something you want. So, alright, let's take a look at the magazine right quick. 10 round magazine, and like I pointed out earlier, you've got the little assist right here. You can pull it down, load around, pull it down, load around. But if you can't get your thumb in there, or if you got a magazine that, you know, that's worn down or whatever the case is, it's not hard just to sit here and load them up. It's a 22, guys. It's not that bad. And plus, this is polymer, so it's not as sharp as some of these metal magazines that you find on, like, sometimes the Marlins get pretty stiff. I've got a Marlin 795 that's actually pretty badass. Absolutely love that gun. As soon as I get my Pro Mag 25 round mags, I'm going to do a review on that as well. But this magazine right here, it seems to be perfectly reliable. Yeah, like I mentioned before, and I think I threw the mag away is why I don't have it, but the guy that I got it from, I think he probably tried to load 11 rounds in this thing and forced it. And don't do that, guys. This is a 10 round mag. It's made for 10 rounds. Leave it at 10 rounds. Yeah, you got a little room right there. It looks like you could possibly squeeze another one in, and I think that's what he did, but it split right up here and cracked it. And once these little lips up here open up, that's actually what's holding your rounds in right there. Alright, so what happened was load this thing up to full capacity, and it was spreading that crack out, and it was ejecting the rounds right off the top. Anywhere from 2 to 4 of them would go at a time, and yeah, it was just a mess. So got rid of that, got 3 new ones, 12 bucks a piece on Cheaper Than Dirt. Probably some of the most affordable mags that you're gonna find, like in this style. So loads up quite nice, hit the mag release. Doesn't spring completely out, but it's still got a pretty positive release. Just swipe it out, you're good. Now, one thing that I do want to do is compare sizes. Now, some of you may have seen my review on this bad boy right here. That was my very first review for YouTube. Didn't go as smooth as I wanted it to, but I figured, hey, that's breaking the ice for me. So this guy, this is my EDC, my everyday carry. Hang on just a second, guys. Oop. Sorry, my alarm sensor is going off. That's alright. have sensors around my house. Yay. So this guy, I keep him loaded up all the time. My everyday carry, I trust this gun with my life. I don't go anywhere without it. I really don't. So unless I have like really nice dress clothes on that are, you know, thin material, and I can't really conceal this, and I'm in a spot where it'd be better to conceal than open carry. In that case, I'll leave this in the car while I carry my Bodyguard 380 by Smith & Wesson. That's another great gun. So anyways, looking at the size of this, yes, this is a 3-inch barrel. Alright, so barrel wise, we're not going to get too much of a comparison out of this, but the great thing about this is a Para Expert carry. So it has a full-size frame, which means we're using full-size magazines. That is an 8-round Chip McCormick magazine. Alright, fits in there flawlessly. That's flush fit. I also have the Paramags that have the bumper on the base plate. But anyways, take a look at that. Grip angles are the same. Width is pretty darn close. Alright, yes, the length of the barrel is off. Alright, I got that. Y'all got that too. Alright, but yeah, compare the size of these two. Alright, yes, the actual recoil of the 45 is a lot more than the 22, but the 22 does its job rather well with that soft spring in there, and when the round goes off, the way that slide comes back and just barely takes you off the target, just like if you're holding a 1911 properly, it'll barely take you off target so you can get a quick follow-up shot, but it's still not quite there. You got to bring it back in. So this is a very effective training tool, much cheaper than shooting these. Alright, hell, this one I keep loaded in here. Federal 230 grain Hydra shocks. You know, Hydra shocks have been around for a long time. Law enforcement use. I guess FBI, CIA, I'm not sure who all has used them or whatnot, but you hear the different agencies' names getting thrown around when it comes to this kind of ammo. And yes, this is fully loaded, keeping on safe. I'm keeping this in my DeSantis holster here. This is a thumb brake holster. I believe it's called a locked and cocked for 1911. Anyways, it's designed for 3-inch and 3.5-inch barrels. Great holster, love it. That's what I use. That's what I conceal. I just wear loose fitting shirts. That's my style, and I just let it drape over. And there's plenty of times, believe me, plenty of times that I just open carry this thing because it's illegal in my state, and I fully agree with open carry. So let's see what I'm using my cheat sheet here now. So size and weight. The size, as we saw, is pretty much the same as what's going to be the standard 1911. The weight is what comes in to be a little bit different. I believe this is about, you guys can go on the Chiappa website, you get all the specifics, but this is about half a pound lighter, and it's made out of a special alloy. It's like, I think they call it Chiappa or something. It's like a zinc alloy. And well, it's a little bit lighter, but really, to be honest with you, it's not that much lighter than this guy. Now this guy is a bit lighter than standard 1911 because it's got the aluminum frame. Alright, it's made specifically for carry. So really, these are fairly similar. So if you get one, I definitely recommend. Take a look at this. You can practice with it. It's pretty good practice for this too. We already went through Field strip maintenance, really just clean it. Keep it clean. The ergonomics, 1911, man. Can't say much more about that. Accessories, well, for my purposes, there's not really any accessories that I'm going to get for this. You can change out the sights, but you need to go to Chiappa to change them out because the cut's a little bit different. And these, I believe, typically the replacements are plastic sights. These are actual metal sights. But I think this is also an older model. But nowadays, if you go in and get any, they're going to be plastic. Grips. Full-size 1911 grips if you really want to change them out. Once again, it's a 22. I don't know how much money you're really going to want to dump into this. Let's see. Obviously, you can play around with holsters. Everybody makes 1911 full-size holsters. Government model. It's been around a long time. Value. I believe these go brand new, a couple $100. A little bit more nowadays, $250 range, depending on where you are, depending on the model. They've got a tactical model, they've got all kinds of stuff, man. But this is just the base model, and that's really, for me, that's all I need. Like I said, SHTF, if I really got to go somewhere, carry a crap ton of ammo without the weight, yeah, I'll probably take that. But realistically, I'm probably going to take my 9mm. And even then, just because of how accurate I can shoot with my 45, it's debatable whether I want to go with my 9mm or if I want to go with the 45. Probably the 9 for capacity though. That's 17 plus 1 rounds. Track record, customer service. Well, I've never had to deal with any customer service, so I can't tell you anything on that. Firepower, we talked 10 round mags, cheap magazines. And quality, I got no issues with the quality. For the purpose I got this firearm, really, the prime purpose for me wasn't even for what it's designed for, to be a training tool. Prime purpose for me, sheer enjoyment. And I think that's really where this thing shines right here. It's just having a fun gun to go shoot, go plinking, go target shooting, practice with fundamentals, go teach a kid how to shoot. My kids will probably end up learning to shoot a pistol on this thing. There's a 1911 is a great platform to teach fundamentals of shooting a pistol. So, granted, yes, there are plenty of other good options, but this is a good setup. So I don't think I really have too much more to say about it. I hope you all have enjoyed getting a little information on this, getting my take on it. I know I tend to ramble a little bit, but hey, hopefully you get something good out of it. Put some comments below. Let me know what you think. Once again, you know, if you're looking at getting one of these, also check out Suits Double Lot. He's got a very good review. That was the review that made up my mind on, hey, whether to take that trade that the guy was offering, and I have not looked back since. Got these sights lined up. Sights were really loose when I got it, so and I didn't realize it right off the bat because I was just excited to shoot it. So I got out there, loaded it up, and I noticed, man, yeah, I'm hitting way all over the place, like the sides of this desk. You know, I could barely hit it. I was like, oh man, I got a bad deal. So I go look at the sights, and I tap the sight, and all of a sudden this sight about fell off. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I better fix that. And that's, you know, all it took, tighten down that set screw. Took another couple of shots, groups at 15 yards. We're, you know, about sitting about like that. You know, pretty much what you saw in the video at the beginning. And, you know, I got them centered up pretty much for my style of shooting. And take my time, zeroed it in, locked down the sight. It's all good. So anyways, this is Naked Alien. Once again, hope you enjoyed it. I'm trying to get some more gun reviews up here, maybe a little bit of survival stuff, some of the knowledge that I've learned throughout the years that I can share, my ideas, my thoughts. Once again, it's all good. Naked Alien, signing out.